Welcome everyone and thank you for joining us today as we dive into a truly astonishing story from the world of rare coins, a story that shows how something as small and ordinary as a 2002 1-cent coin, a coin millions of people have spent without a second thought, could under extremely unusual and extraordinary circumstances reach a value as high as $7 million because of the presence of remarkable mint errors, mechanical anomalies, material mistakes, and rare combinations of factors that transform it from a simple piece of pocket change into one of the most sought-after rarities in modern numismatics, and as we move through this long and detailed exploration together you will see how a single penny from the year 2002 might rise to such an unimaginable value if it contains the right mixture of minting mistakes, physical irregularities, and structural abnormalities that arise from unexpected failures inside the powerful machinery of the United States Mint, because collectors all around the world are fascinated not just by old and historic coins but especially by modern error coins that survived situations they were never supposed to survive, errors that escaped detection during strict inspection procedures, errors that pushed the boundaries of what should be possible in a high-precision minting environment. And the 2002 penny is a perfect example of how even a contemporary coin can hold secrets, mysteries, or production defects that elevate it to a status never imagined by anyone who casually handled a handful of pennies from that year. So let us begin by imagining the intense industrial environment inside the mint where billions of coins are produced every year and where, despite sophisticated machines, advanced quality control, and automated processes, rare moments of misalignment, mechanical stress, human oversight, or unexpected planchet contamination can lead to the birth of a coin unlike any other, a coin that carries the fingerprint of a malfunction, a moment frozen in metal that tells a story no ordinary coin could ever tell, and when such a coin makes it into circulation, unnoticed by machines and by countless hands, it becomes a sleeping treasure waiting for the moment its true identity is finally recognized, and for a 2002 penny worth $7 million. That identity would almost certainly be the result of a combination of the most dramatic and highly desirable errors ever documented, such as double strikes, triple strikes, off-center impressions, broad strikes, die caps, misaligned dies, wrong planchets, foreign planchets, double denomination strikes, massive die cracks, cuds, dramatic die clashes, rotated dies, or even the near-mythical mule error where the obverse of one type of coin is paired with the reverse of another, creating an essentially impossible coin that collectors would compete for with enormous passion and financial power. And when we look closely at the year 2002 in particular, a year that produced billions of pennies using the modern zinc-based copper-plated planchets that replaced the earlier bronze composition, we see that the high speed of production combined with the heavy workload placed on striking dies can make unusual errors more likely to occur under extremely rare conditions, meaning that if a planchet of the wrong alloy, or from the wrong denomination, or of incorrect thickness or weight, accidentally entered the striking chamber, and if that planchet was then struck by a die suffering from mechanical wear, misalignment, or structural damage, the resulting coin would carry multiple layers of rarity, and rarity is the foundation upon which million-dollar coin values are built, because collectors value the impossible, the incredible, the unexpected, the breathtaking accident that somehow survived the minting, bagging, and distribution process, slipping into the world disguised as a normal penny until the right pair of eyes sees its true nature and realizes that it is anything but ordinary. And if we imagine how such errors could appear on a 2002 penny, we should begin with one of the most visually dramatic possibilities, the off-center strike, which occurs when the planchet fails to seat properly in the collar, causing the design to shift toward one edge, leaving part of the coin blank and distorting the portrait of Lincoln or the lettering of the inscriptions, and if that off-center strike is extreme enough while still showing a complete or near-complete date, it becomes significantly rarer and far more valuable. But now imagine that the off-center strike is not the only error. Imagine that the coin was struck twice or even 3 times, with each strike landing in a different orientation, creating overlapping impressions, ghost-like images, and swirling distortions across the surface that no human hand could ever replicate. And such dramatic double or triple strikes can command enormous prices on their own. But if combined with other rare conditions like striking on a foreign planchet or a planchet intended for another denomination altogether, such as a dime or perhaps even a leftover blank intended for a different coinage program, the rarity multiplies exponentially, because wrong planchet errors are among the most desired and extremely valuable in modern numismatics. And if a 2002 penny was struck on a copper-nickel dime planchet or on a nickel planchet or even on a thicker planchet meant for foreign coinage, its weight would be immediately unusual, its color and shine subtly different from normal, and its dimensions slightly off, and such differences catch the attention of collectors, graders, and auction experts who understand just how rare such an occurrence would be. And now consider another incredible scenario where a 2002 penny was struck with a die that had clashed with its opposing die without a planchet between them, causing faint backwards images of Lincoln's portrait to appear behind the words on the reverse, or faint outlines of the Lincoln Memorial or Union Shield to appear behind the portrait on the obverse, and these clashed die impressions appear like hidden ghost drawings beneath the design, and when they are severe, deep, or wide, collectors go wild because they reveal a violent moment in the mint where steel met steel without the buffer of a planchet, leaving permanent scars that transferred onto every subsequent coin until the die was replaced. And die clashes are fascinating because they document a mechanical failure in a highly controlled environment, but if a 2002 penny were to show an exceptionally dramatic clash combined with a misaligned striking, rotated dies, or even a broad strike where the coin was struck outside the collar and expanded like a swollen disc, its value would rise far beyond normal ranges, especially if all these errors stacked up on a single coin, creating a once-in-history specimen. And now imagine one of the rarest and most shocking possibilities of all, a mule error involving a 2002 penny, where the obverse of the penny was accidentally paired with the reverse die of another denomination, creating a coin that is absolutely impossible according to minting rules. And mule errors are so rare that only a few have ever surfaced in the history of U.S. coinage, with some selling for hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. And if such a mule were to exist for 2002, it would immediately break auction records, especially if combined with other errors such as double strikes or wrong planchet anomalies. And now picture a different category of dramatic error, the die crack or die break, where the steel die used to strike the coin develops a fracture from stress, age, or metal fatigue, and that fracture transfers onto the coin as a raised line or raised blob of metal, and when a piece of the die breaks off completely, creating what collectors call a cud, the result is an enormous raised section of missing detail where part of the coin's design should be, and a massive cut on a 2002 penny, especially if located across Lincoln's portrait or the lettering, would be visually arresting and rare enough to attract high-level collector attention. And if such a cut were present on a wrong planchet strike or on a double-struck or off-center coin, the combination of errors would elevate the coin into the class of exceptional rarities that might plausibly be valued in the $1,000,000 range. And further consider yet another possibility, a double denomination error, where a coin already struck as one denomination somehow slips back into the minting chamber and receives a second strike from the dies of a different denomination, creating overlapping layers of design from two different coins on the same piece of metal. And double denomination errors are incredibly valuable, often serving as centerpieces of elite collections. And if a 2002 penny were double struck on a pre-struck dime or nickel, the visual chaos and extreme rarity of such a mistake would draw enormous attention. And in rare cases where the earlier design remains clearly visible beneath the second strike, values soar far beyond typical error coin ranges. And now, with all of these possibilities swirling together, imagine the perfect storm, a 2002 penny struck on a dime planchet, hit twice by misaligned dies, showing evidence of a die clash, forming a large cud near the rim, and struck slightly off-center so that part of the design spills off the coin while the date remains fully visible. And if such a one-of-a-kind coin existed, its value could rise not just into the thousands or hundreds of thousands but into the millions, because collectors would recognize it as something truly unique, a coin that should never have existed, a coin that somehow survived multiple layers of minting chaos. And survival is key because most extreme errors are caught, destroyed, or never released into circulation, but one that escaped, especially in high-grade or uncirculated condition,